Welcome back to Absolutely Marvel and DC. Today I'm joined by Dan, Dylan, Husson, and Sal. Everyone's here. Everyone's here. We had a pizza party at Chuck E. Cheese, and then everyone came over afterwards.
Yeah, Chuck E. Cheese is terrible these days.
Dan heaved in the ball pit.
How did
Dan
both
started
of you get
crying
into a
because he
Chuck E.
couldn't get enough
Cheese?
tickets for the thing he wanted. He was playing skee-ball the whole time.
Okay, I will have you know I am actually fantastic at skee-ball, and I won a giant snake at Disneyland once. My parents were not a fan because we had to drive home with this giant, 20-foot snake, and it was amazing for me.
I want you to know the least
Okay, it wasn't
shocking
20
thing I've
foot,
heard.
but it was this massive.
You know what there was
a
reminds
small
me of?
child. It was.
We one time went to an anime
there you go.
expo, and they were selling body pillows, and they had the body pillow of the Monster Musume Snake Girl, and it was wrapped around the booth, and it was huge.
Oh,
I'm gonna
my
find
God.
that. I'm gonna buy it for you now, Dan.
Okay. I mean, oh no, please don't.
Oh,
but
don't
Dan
do
being
that.
good
my
at
address.
skee-ball is
You
the
know.
least shocking thing I've heard in my entire life. It's just
Me being good at it.
yeah, it just makes. I feel like you're just I could just see you just sitting there give me.
Slinging
He's
balls.
got he's got a special glove he wears when he does it. I can see it.
Zip, a Velcro strap on it.
Fingerless gloves.
He moonwalks
Yeah.
before he tosses it.
Yeah.
You got to get in the zone.
All right. Well, so today, anybody watching this video is probably wondering, what the hell is even going on? Well, the answer for that is very simple. There's been a few changes over here at Absolutely Marvel and DC. We've officially crossed just over the year. We officially started last April, so 2021. There's been a few changes, such as the style of videos. We've moved over some videos. We're trying out some new stuff. We actually have hired Husson onto the team. And this is also the video where I will announce that we're firing Dylan. So, and Dan.
Oh, thank goodness. I almost
luck.
got
No D's. Good luck.
Dylan just says good luck.
Hold on.
Yeah.
That's confidence. The confidence of a serial killer. There he is.
Dylan's like, I'm the one that edits this. That's
Exactly.
gone.
It's
Yeah.
I do everything.
Anyway, I wanted to do a quick video where we kind of talk about it because we've been getting questions like, Husson, how did you get the job at Absolutely Marvel and DC?
Oh, so many
What's
DMs.
going on with Absolutely Marvel and DC? Why are you guys doing some of these videos? A lot of you enjoy them, but we wanted to talk about it here. We figured, why not? We have a lull in content to cover, so why not cover it here?
Great. Yeah,
Indeed.
just give it away. Just tell them, well, we don't have anything else to talk about. So it's indispensable, this
plenty.
content. Here it is.
Well, no, because there's no Marvel show. We gotta wait till Miss Marvel
Yeah,
and
that's
her,
true.
and her
Obi-Wan.
quantum bands.
And her quantum
Other
bands.
I don't. Okay.
No, we're not talking about Ms. Mars.
Not what
Moving
we
on.
need in
We're
this
not talking about that
discussion.
right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess I'll start at the beginning. When we started Absolutely Marvel in DC, it actually is a few chains of events that led to the start of Absolutely Marvel in DC. 2020, going all the way back even before the channel started, we over at Comicstorian got copyright striked by WB for covering comic books. Now, for those who don't know, I've worked directly with DC since the launch of the channel. They were one of the first companies to reach out to us. Worked with them all the way up to 2020. WB came in, striked a couple of videos. I reached out to DC, that got corrected. But that kind of shifted my mindset where I've just got tired of dealing with the YouTube rigmarole. I just didn't want to deal with any of it anymore. False claims, proper claims, whatever. I didn't want to deal with the up and
The
down
uncertainty.
algorithm. The uncertainty, the up and down
Yeah.
algorithm, all that other things. So in the beginning of 2020, right before COVID started, I told the team, we're doing this for 1 year and I'm retiring and you're all going to find new jobs at that point. They're I remember having that talk, expect to not have a job unless the business can hold everyone. And the expectation
Then he
was
says this
it would.
about once a year.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
But I meant it this time because
No,
the
you
plan
didn't.
was we are going to cut down on content and we're not really going to do much. And if the money won't support everyone, then we're just going to start letting people go. That was the plan. At the end of 2020, I got bored and decided instead
There
of
it is.
doing that,
There's the real thing that happens right there.
so I was
Yeah.
doing Twitch at the time, okay? And so Twitch was going through, and I legitimately, and even then said it, I don't like the Twitch model. I don't like having to stream for 8 hours. I don't like having to spend 2 hours prepping. I don't like spending 2 hours afterwards. It's way too much. And it always, whenever I would go crazy on Twitch and make that a viable second career, I would then lose traction on YouTube because I wasn't paying attention or reading comics or doing anything. So then if I went to YouTube, I'd be cutting into the Twitch time, and that would cause issues with the Twitch time. And so I was in a constant battle back and forth between the two platforms. And around the middle of 2020, I just decided to quit Twitch. Because at the beginning of 2020, I was just going to make Twitch work. And I was like, I'll just make Twitch work, and that way this will be kind of my income, and then everything will be supplemented by what's left at Comicstorian, and I'll keep on the staff who can stay on. And my end plan was, I think Dylan, you were in on this. We will stream up until Avengers, make Avengers a big thing. We'll be the biggest streamers on Marvel's Avengers. Everyone's gonna love us. We'll have all the knowledge. It'll be great. Remember that, Dylan?
Yeah, we were gonna do like a bi-weekly podcast for Avengers and talk about all the info that they're releasing constantly.
We were gonna do
and then they did nothing.
We were gonna do a bi-weekly
terrible.
podcast. That was gonna be the focal point of the stream. We had two other guys who are now on the other channel with us that were in the game with us. We were all gonna do Avengers. It was gonna be like a big squad thing. We were expecting like Destiny levels of hype, and the name Comicstorian would easily grow in that. That'll be great.
Yeah.
That was the big plan at the time. And if you're under a rock, Avengers bombed. And for me, I said, you know what? I'm done with Twitch at this point. That was our last hope to make Twitch a viable thing. I'm going to retire from it, and I'm just going to focus on Comicstorian. And I was continuing with the plan of shutting down the overall operations. We were going to do the day-to-day. I'm never just going to get rid of Comicstorian, but the overall day-to-day. That was the plan at the time. And then at about the end of the year, I got really, really bored. Right, Dan?
Yeah. You can't. You don't know how to sit still. I'm sorry. That's not a thing you are capable of. If you're not working, Benny's vacation is, hey, I'm going to take off this. Okay, I'm going to have a week off. He comes back. I've got 3 new projects, 2 new YouTube channels. We're going to make this work. It's like, how?
For the
How do you
record,
do this?
I can, if you don't believe me, right now, we just had a 4-day weekend. Dylan and Dan, did you not have a list of things to do to start today with?
Yep. Literally started the day. Hey, Dan, 2 new tasks for you. I'm going to need this every week.
So what happened is I decided instead of just letting Comicstorian fall apart, why don't we have more fun with YouTube again? And why don't we launch new projects? And the very first ones of those projects were going to be, I had the idea of like, let's do a gaming news channel. We were going to do PSG, PlayStation Steam Gamers. That was me and Dylan. Because the idea was, Dylan, if this channel gets so low that I have to let somebody go, because just without going all into it all, Dylan, you would probably be the first one that would have to go at the time. And I was like, why don't we make other channels where you're the editor so that supplements your income so that we don't have to worry about that? Problem solved. You know, because you like editing podcasts and hosting. So let's make channels focused on that stuff instead of you doing the tedious Comicstorian videos all the time.
There's this weird, like, I feel like, I don't know if it's not a curse. It's like I guess a blessing is the opposite of a curse. But for some reason, out of the like 6 years I've been at this job, every time I get tired of something, I don't really voice that, but then Benny will like a week later be like, hey, we're doing this new project that solves that concern that you didn't tell me about. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. And that's happened many times. And AMD, this channel, has been like a huge help for that, because we started it around the time where I was getting kind of really burnt out of the Comicstorian videos that I had been working on for like 4 years at that point. And I wanted to do more hosting stuff because I feel like hosting is something that I'm good at that wasn't being taken advantage of. And then this channel happened, and it was like, okay, cool. Problem solved.
We tried having you host on Comicstorian a few times, but the overall issue we have on Comicstorian is if it's not me, generally people don't like it. There's always some kind of hate on it if someone other than me narrates.
It was Dan, you and me for a while there tried to have our own shows, and they just never did as well as anything with Benny's voice in it.
No. And for those who are wondering about the Comicstorian numbers, yes, we get lower upfront views, but we're still, like, the way the channel is structured, that doesn't concern me. It irritates me. I do hate when I log on and I go, what the fuck? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the channel still gets it gets its views, it gets its money. That's why you don't hear me complain or talk about it, because I love doing the job, but it just gets tired of dealing with that YouTube ad revenue and all that other crap. That's just a whole other argument. But no, Comicstorian is doing fine. So I decided at that point we were going to launch a couple of channels. And Dylan and I, the idea was we would launch 4 channels, 4 of them. and Dylan would edit all of them. And the goal would be that was the original goal. And a goal would be when two of them succeeded, we would then move Dylan to those two and then hire someone else to do the other two if they were going on that right direction. So like there was a plan here. Like Dylan, you're going to work a bunch, but the goal is to make it so you're doing what you want to do as opposed to doing this other stuff.
Yeah. It was. I've always been the guy in the company who's like I'm the new projects guy.
Yeah.
Normally anything new or complicated gets sent to me.
Totally.
Yeah. Well, it's because you like doing it, and from a boss standpoint, you don't argue.
Yeah, if you're good at it, let
I like
them
new
do
stuff.
it.
That's the thing is like I get annoyed if I'm doing the same thing for 4 years in a row. But like if I get new stuff, I'm like, oh, okay, cool, new challenges.
Right. So we launched Absolutely Marvel. So what happened at the exact same time this was going down, Sal and I had been doing Absolute Comics for like 3 or 4 years, and we were both. I'll be honest, we were both just getting a little tired of it because during COVID, nothing was happening. So we had gone like a year and a half.
A news show.
We were trying to do a comic book news show with no news. It was every week was just like, what is there to talk about? Oh, one thing was said by DC. What do you want to do with that, Sal?
Yeah.
You want to cancel again?
How do you stretch that out into 45 minutes? You just don't. Because it's a rarity to have a content producer that's like, well, if it's empty content, let's just not make it. It's like, what?
Yeah, exactly. And the thing with
Phil.
And the thing with me and Sal and Absolute Comics, even to this day, that is strictly a fun project for the two of us. We liked doing the weekly poll, and in the end, the issues of the weekly poll turned into Rob wanted to go in a different direction, and so did everyone else. But Sal and I always had that same mindset of what we wanted. So after the 6
you should
months,
explain what the weekly pull is, because I think at this point we're far enough removed for people to know.
It's long enough dead. It just used to be
Yeah.
it was just a bunch of different channels got together and talked about comic books on a weekly basis, and it was originally a pretty good like kind of perpetual motion machine where it was like this channel fed this channel. Everybody kind of like fed off each other, and it became this kind of like its own entity as a result. And then eventually, what happens with any group of confederacy of channels, it fell apart. Like. Because everybody has their own rice bowl. Like, everybody's got their own money, and everybody has got their own little, like...
Yeah, everyone has their own projects. That's the ultimate thing what ended up happening with it. Rob just wanted to do his own stuff. He didn't really want to be a part of the project anymore. Everyone is kind of going in different directions in their lives.
Yeah.
If you're following Rob, he's doing a lot more photography now. He's trying to do a lot more of his personal stuff. Sal is doing 2 channels on his own. I've got 80 projects at this point.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, as you can see, like, we all have different directions we wanted to go in, and we just didn't... For an entity like the Weekly Poll, which just, frankly, didn't make the kind of revenue that our own individual projects made, it was just done for fun. It was kept afloat from just the sheer desire to make it.
Yeah.
And, desire and no time does not equate into content. So eventually it was just like, we got to stop. So we did.
No one was having fun. People were showing up late. People weren't paying attention to the show. It was just getting worse and worse, so we just kind of called it quits. Avengers Endgame, I think, was our last thing on that.
That was it, which is a pretty decent place to drop. Like,
yeah, I think it was a good decision.
Point.
Yeah, and that was also when, in my opinion, the original comic book YouTube bubble burst, and we have this new creation that's coming out of the lack of actual information in MCU. Different discussion entirely. I said for years I thought it was going to pop there. Like what we were doing was going to end. That would be the end of it.
Yep.
Yeah.
So anyway, Sal and I made the Absolute Comics as a follow because we still had fun doing the show. The problem we ran into with no news and Absolute Comics not making any real revenue, we were both kind of like meh about showing up to do the show. And since it was for fun, a lot of times we would just say, okay, let's just cancel today. Like, let's just... So, but what we did like doing, and we were trying to avoid doing on Absolute Comics, was talking about the shows, the movies, and stuff like that. We would, Sal, what would we, it would normally be like 5 minutes, we'll talk about it, then we'll get to the comics. Like we were
exactly.
We wouldn't really talk about it. And then what happened is we would start doing extra shows to talk about those. Sal and I, we would, a movie came out. We'll do a separate episode.
We'll do a review of that movie or a discussion about, exactly.
So what ended up happening was at the same time that me and Dylan, I hit up Dylan with 4 ideas at the time. The idea was let's do a gaming news channel where we can just get together and chat about games. Huh?
I don't even remember what all of them were. I know they've happened now, but it's been so long.
Yeah, well, it was we'll do a comic book news show, or like movie channel. where we
Yes.
talk about shows and movies. We were going to launch the Silverton Project, which is still being worked on.
Oh,
It will be
right.
out this Halloween. We've got a launch date now. We've officially got a launch date. You try working with publishers and artists and like all. It's a lot more than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, that one's ambitious for sure. That's one of the more out of the. I think now it's been like 7 new projects or something.
Yeah.
That's one of the more ambitious ones.
Well, the first 2 were supposed to be the easy ones. They're podcast driven, and we're good at that.
This
Let's
and
just-
PSG.
Yeah. So and then we were going to do Comicstorian relaunch, which
Oh right.
Yeah.
they changed their copyright laws again and just took it down immediately. So we're done with that. That's over. I did talk to Sal.
It's a
Not
shame.
Sal. I did talk to Kevin. We talked about possibly doing an anime podcast over here if anyone was game. Haven't brought it up yet. This is the first time they've even heard of this.
I love anime. I would love to talk about it.
I'm brown. That's all I watched growing up. You guys had cartoon. I had Dragon Ball Z and Naruto.
I thought you guys might enjoy if we did an anime. Just here's what we're watching. Here's what's going on, and we could bring Kevin back around too, just as occasional for what he wants to do. But anyway. I haven't brought that up to them, so this is the first they're hearing about it. But it is a part of where we're going with this. So we started so further fun fact, 2021 was to launch all these projects. 2021 took 4 months to launch 4 projects, 2 of which didn't even get off the ground. It's still being worked on, and the other one got off the ground and shut down by the end of the year. But by April, we had both AMD and PSG up and running. Okay. Now, we're going to make a separate video to explain what happened to PSG, but the long story short is the logistics of working with people who don't do this full time was very difficult. So our decision across the board was we're going to shut it down. And it's coming back now, run by Houston, Dan, Coda, and me. And we're going to do basically mobile game centric. We'll make a video about that. It's not dead, but it's getting reinvented.
Rebranded.
basically.
Mogul
Excitement.
Games. We are getting work write-offs for all of our ridiculous amount of app purchases.
Dan got his own business card just to fund this.
Yeah, I did.
Hell yeah.
I think I get more excitement using the business card than I do whatever I use the business card for.
Just like ka-ching.
I'm
He
just
hit me
like,
up the other
yeah,
day. He's
look
like,
at this.
yo, I'm gonna swipe $50 in this game. You said I could, right? We're good? We good? I'm like, yeah, go for it, Dan. He's like, yeah!
The very first day I got it, I'm like, okay, before we go to the office, I'm going to get a coffee. And he's like, grab me a large cold brew. And I'm like, can I use the business card? He's like, yes. And I'm like, yes, I'm using the business card for coffee.
So anyway, Absolutely Marvel and
grand.
DC started with the general idea that we would talk about movies and shows. And there was an end goal. And the end goal was to eventually transition this into more of us just talking about movies in general. We always were going to cover superhero stuff. But we wanted to get a good audience with this and then move into more generic stuff. That way we're not beholden to when the MCU does something.
Right.
Because that was the early concern with AMD. Which we realized quickly because we launched during some show in April, WandaVision.
Yeah.
And there was a gap until Loki.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, like, we're never gonna have that again. So I guess it's okay.
It was such a strange time because I remember we were panicking kind of early on where it was like we got to figure out like content to do, and that's when we were going back and watching all those old like Spider-Man cartoons and stuff.
Yeah.
It was a fun time, and now that's kind of evolved into like Batwatch and rewatching the prequels and stuff. But yeah, it definitely when you hitch your wagon to a corporation creating content,
Yeah.
you can be left out to dry sometimes.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's good to come up with stuff that's just of your own
especially-
complete brain.
Especially if you want to make substantive content or content that is at least about something.
Yeah.
I'm not pretending like there's some deeper meaning here, but at the very least it's not just like we're grasping at straws. Like, okay, so WandaVision is now 2 months out, but let's comb over all the Easter eggs and just it's not just the most baseline kind of thing. And because we just maybe we're too old, or maybe it's just like I just don't care. Like I don't want to do that. Like
I want to give you credit,
just go,
Scott.
I don't want to do that.
I want to give him credit actually because I have brought up some of those. Like, here's this one sliver of news.
Right.
Let's make a whole thing on it. And Sal's
Yeah.
like, what are we
No.
really going to make with that?
Because
What's the video here?
I really can't pretend. So it's like Benny be like, okay, so here's the thing, and I'd be like, I don't really care about that, and that with the show, I just see stonewalling it, and it's not because I'm a jerk and I'm trying to be obstinate. It's just I'm sorry, man. I can't.
Something interesting.
I
Yeah.
can't be like, whoa, I'm a morning DJ, fart. Like, it's not working.
Fart? Just the word fart.
That's why we hired Husson.
That's my
He can be a
word
fart.
for-
He can be our farter.
You don't get it. What Sal just described is like, I don't want to do. That's all I want to do.
That's all you
want
wanna
to
do.
Headline,
But that's
I'll talk
fantastic.
about it for 20 minutes straight.
That's
Well,
right.
there's 5 of us.
Yeah.
Well,
but
that is eventually where Husson came from, and I'll explain. We'll get to that part of the
Yeah.
story real quick. But so we kept growing, we kept working on things, and the end goal was always to make additional content. Now we got to the year marker, and I brought it up again. Like we need to start making like evergreen stuff that people would want to watch because it doesn't relate to us talking about the Amber Heard trial. It relates to us talking about, you know what I mean? Like,
Oh God.
because
just
that's
saying-
gonna go away tomorrow.
There's
Yeah.
so many TikTok creators that are just lost all their content with that trial being over now. Like,
right? They're like,
Oh,
uh-oh.
man.
I hope someone ruins their lives so I can talk about it all day.
Some people got like
seriously.
multi-million following counts by making fan edits of like a legal trial, which is maybe the
Yeah.
greatest
Jesus.
concept
Yeah.
that's ever existed.
Seriously, these kids would have really cleaned up during like the O.J. Simpson period.
Oh my God, yeah.
Somebody just
imagine.
like someone made a fan page for the lawyer on Instagram. It's got like 20,000 followers. It's just edits of Camila Vasquez and nothing else. That's it.
That's fair.
Wow. That's a different
So-
world.
So what ended up happening was we got to that, and we were trying to think of like evergreen ideas, and that was when Dan and I, at the same time this year, because I just like podcasting, we're trying to think of ways to bring back projects that we had started that had kind of died out. So that's like Conspiracy Cast. That's 3 Beers at a
Nope.
Topic. Things like, nope. As it is now.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, so we reinvented all of these to like, well, why don't we throw them on Absolutely Marvel and DC? And if nobody likes Nope there, then we'll just put it on its own thing. You know, and we also have filmed an episode of 3 Beers at a Topic as something we want to bring up. And there's talks of us bringing anime over here, talking about that. And the idea is to move Absolutely Marvel and DC to not stop talking about TV shows. We're going to talk about Obi-Wan. We're going to talk about Miss Marvel. But to supplement that content with more stuff that we directly own, such as our concepts, our projects, things like that.
Right.
Which also reminds me, the other channel that we were starting up at the time, Dylan, was Dungeons and Ale, which is still going. Just took forever to get that.
That was another one. Yes, I love that channel.
Yeah.
That channel's fun to do, but that was one of those ones that was logistically a nightmare to get figured out how we're
Yeah,
going
and
to
then
do
there was
it.
also the gaming stuff on Facebook once we got that deal, which
Yeah,
Yeah.
ooh
Ben and
boy,
Friends.
what a good time that was.
that was sidebar, because I don't think I've ever explained fully what that deal was. So we got randomly hit up, So Dylan and I, because I've always enjoyed gaming and making gaming content, so Dylan and I have always made these fun videos over on Comicstorian Gaming. They never did really well, but I used them as a pitch. We got hit up by Facebook, a company, wanting us to make gaming content for Facebook. And I said, we can make these videos, which are highly produced and take us time. And they said, these are great. Here's a contract. And the contract said we needed to make 20 videos a month. And I said, we cannot do that with this style of content because it takes them 2 to 3 days to figure out the joke and put it all together. I got to script it out. This is a project to figure, because we take like 6 hours of us playing a game and it's a 5-hour joke video. Like, I mean, a 5 minute joke video. Like, there's 6 hours of footage we're combing through to get you that joke. And they responded with, just do whatever and give us 20 videos.
Yeah. It got to the point where we realized that there was nobody checking the videos. So our requirements were we had to make 20 individual videos that were at least 3 minutes, and at the end of the month we had to have 180 minutes of content. And there was a point where Benny and I both realized, hey, no one cares.
And
Let's just do whatever.
no one cares, and Facebook had no discoverability for this program.
Yeah. They were getting 5 views per video, maybe.
Oh, I think they maxed out at 40. Like 40 views is
40.
the highest they were doing.
Great.
There was zero
Good job,
discoverability, and I'm even trying to promote it, and the general audience reaction was, I don't have Facebook. Like,
Because nobody does.
I don't.
So-
Who uses Facebook like as like a? Can you imagine
like a
someone
video?
scrolling through?
Yeah.
just like that's like an insane concept.
And because of that,
Yeah.
lo and behold, and Benny probably knows more about this, but our year-long contract, which gave a pretty substantial pay bump to me, Benny, and a couple other editors, They just threw our contract away and said no more money for you.
Yeah.
So that
Out of
was
the
a good
blue.
time.
So that was going fine, and I kept checking in with them, like, are they going to get discoverability? Do you want us to improve? Do you want us to do anything? They wouldn't say anything. They wouldn't respond. I couldn't get the company to respond. They would just, we uploaded the videos and hit the note, we would get the money. That's all it was. And then out of the blue in February, I get hit up with an email, hey, we're canceling your contract. And I'm like, oh, well, I kind of saw that coming, because we're not doing anything really, and you aren't promoting it. Come to find out, Facebook fired almost everyone. The stock went down.
Everyone that got this deal.
Yeah, they
gone.
just canned it across the board.
Is that a contract violation? Can you guys
No,
all get
there was a
together
clause
and
in
file
there.
a class action lawsuit? Because I feel like that'd be kind of awesome.
Yeah, I don't think we're taking down Facebook anytime soon.
No. The point isn't to take. No, nobody's taking down Facebook.
point is to get
You're
your slice of the
annoying
pie.
them into getting a payoff.
Yeah.
That's true.
Facebook has so
Maybe
many
we should
clauses
try-
on
Hey, Benny,
clauses.
look into that.
Well, so for anybody who has actually found the Ben and Friends channel that I just kind of ninja launched and I don't really talk about, that is what the original plan was, which is basically we do shorts, we do our goofy videos, and what that is existing from is new footage I'm getting, and the 900 hours of footage Facebook gave back to us.
Yeah, you got to do something with that, right? I mean, come
Yeah,
on.
I was like, let's just put it up. What's the worst that'll happen? The channel doesn't
There's
succeed,
like
and
40
that's the end.
Fortnite videos that I just slow. I'm in November going through the shorts of the Facebook videos. I'm still in November of Fortnite videos of last year.
So anyway, the flip is back around to what was going on. So we got to we came to the decision this time of to bring, and that's what I wanted to bring up right now. The channel's goal is to be fun for the hosts. Like, we are here to bring you content. We are here to bring you clickbait. We are here to bring views to us and get a check. That's not a lie. But this is also an ancillary project because everyone on here has something else. I mean, Husson's like this giant TikToker. I've still got Comicstorian. Sal's been doing comic pop for 10 years. And Dan and Dylan both have full-time jobs with me. So it's not like Dan's a big Dislight streamer now.
Well, I am actually. Thank you very much.
Oh,
And Dylan has been repurposing our content for his channel, which our parent company has been trying to take down.
I got a copyright claim from Studio 71 being like, hey, you plagiarized Absolutely Marvel and DC. I'm like, bro, I'm in the video. It's mostly me in this 30-second video.
I'm sorry, you don't own your own face anymore, Dylan. That's
I didn't tell you
fine.
guys I sold everyone's
actually
likeness.
We all
While this
signed
was
Henry Cavill Netflix style contracts for The Witcher.
Yeah, apparently.
Lost the rights to our face.
Yeah.
so this brings me to the Husson story. Husson, hi. Thank you for patiently waiting there for me to get
Right.
to the Husson
Thanks
Hey,
for
story.
waiting
yeah.
45 minutes to talk.
Don't worry, it was 28 minutes.
He's counting.
I just looked at the recording on the other
like-
monitor.
Hey,
28
a lot has been discussed in here.
Yeah,
so
of course.
While this was going on, it was really just me, Dan, and Dylan that would watch CW and HBO Max shows.
Yeah, we would have to suffer by ourselves.
Yeah.
And for that entire year and a half that I was trying to repurpose what we were doing at the Comicstorian brand, there was this really annoying guy that would constantly hit me up on Discord. Okay.
Yeah, he would.
Damn.
And he was grinding in the background too. He was doing his own thing, but he's like determined.
Yeah.
So I would get these
that guy.
random messages from Husson Kader. I had zero idea who this guy was, okay?
Perfect.
And it would be a novel. I would get this like block of text that would basically be what he's done on TikTok and YouTube Shorts, how good it is, and then a list of what Comicstorian should be doing in YouTube and Shorts.
Not in like a mean way, like you guys
No.
are doing it wrong, but in like a, guys, I love you and I never want this channel to ever disappear.
Right.
Here's ideas. Just like an asshole. Here's ideas. I know you're a businessman, but here's some 20-year-olds plan for your channel.
Right, exactly. So I would just I read it over, and I had zero interest in doing Shorts or TikTok or any of that stuff. We had no intentions of working on that stuff.
Yeah.
And the main reason is I'm not against trying to get into a new field or whatever, but TikTok to me just came across as Vine 2.0, where Vine got shut down. And YouTube Shorts, anytime we tried that or live streaming, fucked our numbers hard. Like
Exactly.
it tanked everything. So it's like, I'm not touching that. Screw YouTube for wanting to do this. I'm not touching that. So one of the other projects we launched was based on Husson's advice, was a Shorts channel. And Dan and I made like dozens and dozens of shorts. They were all over this shorts channel. None of you guys know it existed because Husson's plan didn't work. So
Yeah, Husson.
Hey, there's a gold play button right there with an S in the middle. I won't have you tell.
Yeah,
Also,
but does it have our name on it? No, because it didn't work for us.
You know what the thing is? I think I told Benny this. I don't know if I told the rest of you guys. I launched a brand new channel, completely new. Didn't shout it out anywhere. Just uploaded my old videos and nothing else. It's like a week old. It has 350 subs and over 110,000 views. Brand new.
Yeah.
Brand new channel. So my plan worked for me.
it just didn't work on us. So
Fair.
a lot of the original YouTube Comicstorian shorts existed on a different channel. So during this period, Husson would also, and for the record, I would respond to Husson. I wasn't ignoring him. He wouldn't respond back. It was like a one-way street. He would drop this bomb of information. I would say something. He would say like one response and then gone.
I had to go get my credentials up every time. I was like, you know what? I don't think I know enough yet. I'll be back. I'll be back at 1 million subscribers. And I came back every time I hit a milestone.
Yeah.
Every time I hit a milestone or felt like I had more like valuable information to give, I would offer that up. I'd like go to the YouTube Shorts meetings and see what they have. I'm like, okay, now I know this. Let's give it to Benny. But if I didn't have anything of value, I'd be like, I'm wasting this guy's time. I'm not going to message him.
The best part was, at no point during this entire year of him hitting me up did I even look up who he was. I was just this random. I was just a random fan who's just hitting me up with shorts information, and I'm like, that sounds like something fun I could do. And that's all. That was the reason we started doing like this is a viable action. I'll give it a shot. Why not? You know, what's the worst happens if Dan and I make a channel and put shorts on it? Like,
Yeah.
That's not going to affect us. Let's do it. We also were supposed to launch a Comicstorian full story re-upload channel, which I still kind of want to do, but we never got around to doing it. We just never did. The idea was if there's a channel that does nothing but the full stories, will that do better than Comicstorian?
It will do so well. Holy crap.
And we keep meaning to do it, but
We would get copyright strikes by our own company.
True. Yeah. What?
I tell you from experience, yes.
we might still do it. We might still do it eventually, just as
Oh.
a secondary hub for the full stories and compete with ourselves and whatever. If we own
Perfect.
both, what does it matter? Remember the old
Comic
school?
full
the-
story.
Do you know that's exactly what I'm doing right? What you just
Yeah.
explained is what my current channel, my newest channel, is meant to kill my current channel. I made it on purpose. I realized they're only serving up views to brand new channels right now, and I was like, I could make a brand new channel very
Of my
easily.
old stuff? Here.
Literally, it's because I have 2,000
That's my
videos
plan.
made, so
There you go.
put it somewhere new.
So anyway, so that ended up happening. What happened is Husson also started bringing up the Young Justice stuff. I really wanted to talk about Young Justice. So I put him on that very first episode just to see how this guy acts on camera. So this is where we get to the part of why we hired Husson. A lot of people want to be on our shows. A lot of people want to be in Absolute Comics, or they wanted to be on the Weekly Poll. They want to be
so
on
many.
Marvel and DC.
We have to beat them up with a stick. There's so many people just flooding our DMs asking us to be on the show.
They're flooding my DMs asking me how I got on the show.
Yeah,
this
they went to him.
episode's
We're
going to
good.
save my existence.
I was joking. I have no idea if anybody wants to be on this show.
No, we do.
that's-
I'd say about every week or two, we get about 1 or 2 people asking how they be on the show, or can they be a guest on the show, or whatever the situation is.
Gotcha.
And the
I don't do
reason-
that aspect. I'm just kind of like, okay, I show up. I don't know anything.
Well, that was the arrangement I made with Sal. I said, we're going to do Absolutely Marvel and DC and Absolute Comics.
I'm
and
like,
I
it's a
will
lot of
handle-
stuff.
I will handle everything. You just have to show up.
That's what I want.
You're a host. That's all you do. Good.
Great.
The reason why is a lot of people think they'd be good at having a podcast discussion. And I've actually thought about Sal and I on an Absolute Comics episode talking about the do's and don'ts that we've learned over the years.
It's a great episode, yeah.
It's
do.
It's not easy. You don't just get on a camera. There's a lot of things that you need to learn how to not do. Talk in a circle, not have where you skip over what you're saying. Like things like that.
Yeah.
You don't slow down. You got to keep up with your brain while you're talking, while having a conversation, while maintaining everything.
Filling time is hard.
Yeah. You also need to
Husson
know
just
how
did-
to
I
interrupt
edited.
people.
He talked about Stranger Things for 8 minutes straight without skipping a beat. That's a host.
Yes, sir.
That's someone who knows what they're doing.
Thank you. A cool decade of making internet videos and having no friends for the first half of my life. So
Perfect.
It is a talent.
So what it comes down to is when we're looking for people to join the show, they have to have something I can look into, or they have to see them and how they can handle themselves. Because what we're not trying to do is have any kind of dead weight on a show.
Right.
And that's not to say that, everyone
You're dead
starts
weight!
somewhere. Yeah, everyone starts somewhere. But I would like to think that we've hit a certain level of quality and production that with our hosts that you're not looking for that. You're not looking for someone who doesn't know how to think about what they're doing or sorting through. Right. That was actually one of the issues you ran into with PlayStation and Steam gamers, because we had two individuals who had never done podcasting or never done discussions.
They really never been on camera before. And it's like, no fault to them, but like Benny and myself have been doing this for like 10 years plus.
Yeah.
So it's hard to match that level of just being comfortable on camera.
Exactly.
When you've been doing it for so long and you're matched up with someone who's never done it before. It's a completely different ballgame.
And it can also be a bit more obvious when you're matched with someone who does know what they're doing so much that there's such a big gap that you could be doing a great job, but that gap makes it a little more obvious.
Makes it more noticeable.
It's really a muscle you have to work out so much, because sitting in front of a camera, I remember, like, if you dig through the back of my YouTube channel, you'll watch videos of me on camera and I'm like, hey guys, I'm Husson. It's nice to... It's like I can't even like say my name properly. There's no confidence in anything. It always feels like I'm like trying to give like a... Hey, on this episode of Halo, it was pretty crazy the way Master Chief... It's like very buzzwordy sentences
sex.
instead of like...
Right.
Yeah, with Cortana.
That would have been more
very
interesting
first
than the actual
episode
show.
of the very first episode of the Show with Issues, which was like the used to be the flagship show on my channel, this was like 6 years
ago?
into me making like 8 years ago, and like 6 years into me making YouTube videos.
That was also the period where I didn't know your channel's name and
teleprompter.
kept doing it wrong.
Yep.
Yeah, and now that is the name of the channel. Well, it's changing again.
Oh my god.
It was me reading off the teleprompter, but still, it was like, you can tell. Like, if you watch that video versus like something of, me even reading a script or not at all now, it's so different. It's night and day.
Oh,
and that was when I was like 14 in my parents' garage. So that was a long
You
time
were a garage
ago.
filmer. I was a parents' bathroom filmer. That's where I got the best.
I was either
acoustics.
in my bedroom for the most part, or when I got to the Show with Issues, I wanted to do a green screen, so I built a green screen studio in my garage, and that's how I started.
See, for me, when I started actually getting on camera, we were in Colorado at that time, because Natalie and I started with the gaming channel initially, which is what Comicstorian Game became and all that stuff.
Right.
We started there, though, and we were never on camera. They just weren't. So for me, when I started being on camera, my living room, I had built a couple shelves with some of the like cheap statues. This is the set now. Like
That's the classic YouTuber set. Let me get some shelves and some figures behind me.
I got
And
a
I'm
couch.
good to go.
No one's ever sat on the couch, but I got a couch. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I had a
Show
couch.
couch. That is not for
Back
anyone.
at my last apartment, I had a couch.
No, we sat
no
on the
one,
stools
I
for
laid on
bad
there.
days. 'Cause I would have to pick
It's
up
true.
the camera, which is mounted to like a bipod in the back of the desk, which isn't that much work, but I don't want to do it.
That's why we have a studio,
Yeah, it's
because we
just-
had to we had to convert my living room into a studio every time we shot.
I remember that.
Right.
'Cause a couple times I did episodes with you, and I'd see. No, I never did it at your place.
Nope.
But we did go for like MovieNet a couple of visits.
Yeah.
And you could see all the stuff right there on the side. It
Yeah,
was
just
like,
my life. It was just my set was my living room, and then I would just move the couch in front of the TV, because like people thought like we had a green screen. I'm like, no, it's just a 72-inch television that I got. We're using like credit card points. But and then we just shot there, and then we'd be like, all right, so 25 minutes are spent setting up lights and cameras, and then 20 minutes of just taking it all back down. And I'm like, there's got to be a better way. I know. I'll just spend armloads of money to have a space that I can just leave it all in.
My current idea is I want to hire an unpaid intern, because I have lots of value and I could get someone to take down my sets. I'm not kidding. This is something we're actively looking into, because I was like, I can't. I'm
Dan
bad
looked
at
into it
this.
for us for a while ago. To get an intern is a whole bunch of stuff you got to do to get.
Yeah.
Annoying.
Okay,
Yeah.
we'll talk about it afterwards.
We'll work it out.
I just like dashed his hopes. Like, did you see that face? It's like, we're getting an unpaid intern.
Like, no, you're not. It's
I
too
have so
hard.
much value to add, okay? I just want someone to put my camera up.
Yeah, if I can increase productivity by 4%, you have no idea how much my output would be.
No, the trick is you get someone like me that Benny got, where you go, okay, your job is literally everything that I don't want to do.
Right.
Yeah, his name is Isaiah, and he's downstairs waiting for my next order.
There we go.
I hired him based on, I took a trip with my best friend and Benny, and by the end of it, I was like, hey, you're my assistant now.
That's actually, I mean, I could talk about growing the company at some point, but that was like the first things I started to do was hire people to do things I don't want. And then we got to a point where Dan was our original editor, and everyone I was bringing in was far more qualified than Dan to be an editor.
Yeah.
So I gave Dan the producer role, and I was like, you're going to figure out how to do it. Well, we've discovered that producer Dan does everything I don't want to do.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, though,
Sounds like a
saying I
producer.
was not qualified, I literally went from not reading comic books, not watching YouTube, and not knowing how to edit a video to editing videos on YouTube for
Yep.
comic books.
That's true.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, I didn't say you weren't
Benny,
qualified.
didn't you
I
teach
said
everyone, like except for me, who's edited Comicstorian videos?
Kevin,
Didn't you teach
you and Kevin.
everyone?
You and Kevin were preemptively.
Oh, and Kevin, that's right.
You guys knew your own stuff. Yeah. Everyone else I taught. Yeah.
Benny taught me, and I he showed it to me like 2 times, and I was like, okay, I got this. And then I
Originally, my plan was to not hire people who already know how to edit, so I can pay them stupid cheap, and not hire anyone who's interested in
dare
comic
you.
books, so they wouldn't get to it. Hey, this was like 2013,
How dare
man.
you?
I wasn't making money,
yeah.
so
Hey,
I
as
would.
a guy who's not making money right now, I agree with his philosophy.
Yeah, so I would hire people. So what I did was I
Treat
went to
editors
GameStop.
correctly.
I found out what Dan made at GameStop. I increased that amount by $100.
Which was nothing, pretty much.
Yeah, so I offered him $100 more than he was making at GameStop. Because remember, you and I sitting down, and your initial check was for an entire month. It was like $900.
It was $900.
Ooh.
He was making like $800
That's not how
at
much I
GameStop.
actually got, though.
No, because we did it off of percentage wise. So it was like, I'll pay you at least $900.
Okay.
If the channel does well this month, you'll make a little bit more. But that was in the early days where I didn't know what I was making. So to bring in
Right.
Dan, it was like, I'm offering you $900. That is $100 more than
got
you make
equity?
at GameStop.
I
He
got
did.
equity.
I did for a short period of time, then Benny cut that off real quick.
I got equity for a month.
And he got equity, and then what ended up happening was when we converted it from just Benny LLC to the operation we have now, because there was a business conversion, he lost his equity, and I offered him a hell of a pay hike
Yeah,
or a
that's
severance package, and he went with the pay hike. So
It's like, what do I want to do?
yeah, but we dissolved the business he had an equity in to go into what we do now. So anyway.
Right.
Yes, that was my original plan. I'd go to places like GameStop, hire people who had no skills in this. But I would do it by giving them an extra $100 more than they made there, and then teach them the skills, and then make them do the shit I didn't want to
Hiring
do.
practices.
That was the early plans, and it worked. I got Houston the same
Fair
way.
enough. Hey, didn't you find Gary at Starbucks?
Yep.
Yep.
That's-
God damn.
He's scalping people. He found
I'm the
me.
only
He
person who
found
came
me
to this by
because I
accident.
lost my previous job, and he hired me out of spite.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, you were working for another YouTuber.
That
He's like,
was probably
that guy.
that was the best hire story on our side. That
Yes.
was the best one. ever, 'cause he was
Privately,
like,
I remember that
He was like,
conversation.
"Screw Taylor Jake. I'm gonna get
I've
Dylan
never said
so
this
that he can never
publicly.
come back."
But there was a few times in the weekly poll stuff. Like early days, this is all gone. Don't worry about this. But early days, there was like a weird divide in the comic book YouTuber landscape. There was the
It's still there, but it's perpetuated by the audience now as opposed to ourselves.
Yeah,
Like,
no,
the
we're
audience
not
just
actually-
doesn't care
yeah.
anymore.
Nobody
so
really
it's just-
cares.
yeah.
yeah. Like,
But early on, there was
We
the
all
two
grew up.
schools of the video essay crowd, and then there was the weekly poll crowd. And the weekly
Yeah.
poll crowd, we went the easy route. Our videos were easy to produce.
they were very easy to produce, yes.
But I think that was the mentality.
No,
While
it's-
people like
Oh, yeah,
Dylan
no.
and Dylan's side of the house all had this idea that they were better than us, that they wouldn't come on the podcast
Look
because
at
they
his
were better
fucking
than us.
smirk, man. He still
See?
thinks
I'm
it.
looking at Dylan. He's like, "You're getting me in trouble, man." I still talk to these people.
Like early days, they wouldn't come on the weekly poll because they were better than us because we were the lowbrow of the YouTubers.
Dude, there was, I will say, and I'm comfortable enough saying this now because this was eons ago at this
Right.
point. There was a time where my smarmy little, like, 18-year-old ass was sitting in Comic Drake's apartment, and we were watching a Comicstorian video, both shaking our heads like, how dare you get so many views?
Yeah.
And now, of course, like, I get it. Like it's just, you get all in your head, and YouTubers have egos. We all have egos. Everyone on this platform does. You
Oh,
have
yeah.
to be some some amount of self-absorbed to make a video starring yourself.
Right. Hey, what's
I
up,
like-
everybody?
I like-
Listen to me. Yeah.
I
my opinion
like to think my
matters.
ego isn't that big, but I will admit, and I've told the stories, there are times where it's like, hold the fuck on. Who do you think you're talking to? Like,
We all get those moments.
Yeah.
And it's like, like, especially for me, like back then, as like literally a child, like relatively speaking.
Yeah, 18.
Like
no, yeah.
I didn't know any better.
Child,
And
yeah.
and I was surrounded, and I was my head was in my ass, and I didn't know
Yeah.
what the hell. And then I got reality checked when I got let go from
Right.
NerdSync, and
Oh, yeah.
and then Benny hired me, and I was like, hey, money is good.
well, so the way
Money and
that the way that,
security, like being able to like
way
do
that,
your
that
job.
happened was
Yeah.
we had just done a weekly poll. We found out you had been fired, and we always because we always just avoided everyone that hated on us. We're like, that's just we're not going to be in that negative
Also,
space.
I want to clarify real quick. I got fired. The way I got fired was the business stopped making enough money to pay for anyone's paycheck. So
you just,
Yeah.
you just disappeared. Like it was just.
yeah,
One
I had
day
like
done.
a day notice. Doesn't matter. I
And it
just
was
I didn't
around
have a job
Christmas, too.
anymore.
Yeah.
It was
Yes.
Christmas.
It was.
Yeah.
So
it was
what
Christmas
ended
Eve.
up
Merry
happening was
Christmas, Dylan.
Was it really? Was it Christmas?
Yeah,
It was
I thought you were just
December.
making
It
it
wasn't
funny where you're like,
Christmas,
it was
but-
Christmas Eve.
No, it was December because I remember
It was
the call I had with
December.
Dylan.
I just
was
finished
at
surgery.
PlayStation Expo. I was at PlayStation
Yeah,
Expo
this
for
was
fun.
this was the month. No, was this the month of or the? No, okay, I'm thinking of a different month. But it was December. It was
Okay, yeah.
December after I moved out of my parents' house and was finally like
Right.
finding my footing as an adult.
And it's like, hey,
Yeah.
man, you're fired.
Yeah. Hey.
So what ended up
no money
happening,
anymore.
the weekly poll, we never did anything actively against the people that hated on us.
No.
But I will admit, anytime I found a way to spitefully do something, totally jumped on it. Like,
I do remember there was a
I
conversation.
didn't know this for months.
No, this was a conversation legitimately just like Dylan doesn't work there anymore, and it was like I just remember being like, he does if he edits those videos, he's good. Like,
Yeah.
like that would really suck to lose him.
yeah. I remember we had a few talks like that, and we were joking around. So what ended up happening was, one, out of feeling bad for Dylan getting fired at the beginning of December, but two, because I felt like it'd be such a fuck you to the other guys.
Also, shout out Mopey, community mod, who's like in everywhere. He's the one who like saw that I got fired and then told
Yeah.
Benny.
That's
so,
true.
Like, thanks.
But I thought it'd be such a funny moment. And I don't remember
Yeah.
we were launching, Dylan, but we were actually launching a project, and I needed another editor.
I don't remember what it was, because it was mostly complete stories that you hired me for. Because the first complete story I did was a Totally Awesome Hulk complete story.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know. I don't.
There was
I think
something
we
Probably
had ideas,
Comicstorian
but they didn't-
TV. It was probably like that stuff, like where it was like more sets and stuff.
Well, I
No,
think
no, no,
we
it-
were moving more into podcasts, and so I was moving more onto the podcast, so we needed more coverage for the complete stories. To
There
make
was
up for
there
the
was
fact
something
that I
we were
was moving
trying at
off.
the time. I don't remember what it was.
So
But so we ended up doing
after
was-
I came on, that was like Comics Experiment, Comics Tonight,
Yeah.
like all
Yeah.
of that stuff.
Yeah.
It was the more complicated things that y'all needed someone who could handle that.
Yeah.
Because I didn't even have Kevin at the time. Because you and Kevin are the two that are actually trained in editing and can actually do things. Well,
I'm not
me and
trained.
Dan. But you change yourself to do everything. But still, you're
Yeah.
more trained than I am. I basic edit. Like, okay, puzzle piece
Sure.
here.
Yeah, I've spent
make all my
hours in a
videos on
cave
iMovie.
figuring it out.
But anyway, yeah. So I hired him on. That's what I hired you on. But back to the Husson thing. So after Husson worked for free for like 4 months of Young Justice.
We hired him out
Young
of spite.
Justice and Flash and Superman and Lois. Thank you very much.
Well,
I
what
put in
ended up
my time.
here's what happened. I wasn't going to hire Husson. We were going to bring him in as just a co-host on A Young Justice for fun. And then after the first episode, I finally Googled Husson.
And you were like, oh no! Hey,
I remember going to
what's
Dan.
It took
up?
me a minute to do that too. I was like, "Who's this guy that Benny invited? Like, he's
That-
good at this. Who is he?" And then I
Yeah.
looked him up like after a month and was like, "Wait a minute."
Yeah.
What the hell is
What?
this crap?
That was Benny's story to me. Yeah, he's like, so Dan, you know that guy that I brought on? Yeah, apparently he's got a couple million like followers on TikTok doing something. I'm like, wait, what's
like,
the
We
fuck?
brought him in the
As a
first one
puppet.
just We just brought him in for one episode for fun, and it went really well. Like, Husson, you did incredible.
Thank you.
So I hit up Dan, and I'm like, why don't we see about if he wants to come back more often? Let me see how big he actually is, because I know he makes stuff based on these novels he sent me. And I Googled him, and he's got 6 million followers on TikTok, like 3 million on YouTube. Like, and I was like,
God.
now we definitely should put Husson into this.
Yeah. How about he's in charge now?
advertising.
Like, yeah.
It's the absolutely Husson Marvel.
There we go.
We can change it up.
But so I brought in Husson, and I still didn't even think about like hiring him. It was just a guest spot. But the reason he got hired is, and this is what I wanted to talk about Husson. And by the way, this is just going to be our Absolute Comics podcast of the week.
I was gonna say the length
I
of
was
this. Like, damn.
What happened is I basically was like, this is what I wanted to get at. If you're at a job that you want to do better at, Husson did what you do.
Right.
Anytime there was a show that existed that he might want to jump on, he would be very vocal. I want to be on Flash. I want to be on Superman. I want to be on Young Justice. And eventually, he became the guy. He became Dylan, because Dylan was on every CW show and got tired of them all. And Husson slowly became that guy.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was until Husson came along. I didn't know it was an option that I could just not watch them. And then Husson showed up, and I was like, "Whoa! I don't have to watch the Flash."
Yeah. I could just not.
We're so close to
Let's
the
go.
finale of that one. I'm not covering it next season. We're finishing it.
Oh no, we are done with Flash after this season.
Fair
I
enough.
am not
Man.
torturing myself with
I
that
spent
again.
my entire upbringing just craving to talk about Flash. I watch so many shows, people discussing it. I get to watch it, and the show sucks this bad.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
But that's an element of what the channel was originally designed to be, where it was like,
Yeah.
oh, this will be fantastic. We have this like cadre of people who can sub in, sub out, or really speak to their own personal talents and be like, I really am passionate about this. Well, then you get that. And you're really not passionate about that. Well, then you don't have to worry about that one. You'll get something else. Like, it really worked out so that everybody has a chance to shine and focus on the things that make them look the best and talk about the thing they care about the most about.
Good. When Sal and I originally talked about it, that was my original pitch to Sal, which is actually a pitch that I made for the weekly poll back in like 2015 when we were starting to gain traction. And I was like, that was why we brought in Faust, Joel, and we brought in like Caitlin. It was
what's funny is we never wanted to do it. We had Faust, we had Joel, we had actually like at some point we had like 8 people.
Yeah.
And it was
a lot
like,
of
but
people
we
on that
never
show.
went, but we were never like, okay, and now anyone else can host the show. Like, we always still hosted the show. It was just, there's either going to be 8 people on the show or there's going to be like 3. That was it.
Yeah, and I think that's why, like, despite there being 5 of us here, like early on, I as the editor / sort of director was like 3 people max,
Right.
for most things, because I think that's what works. And when you have 8 people in a show, somebody's not going to talk.
Exactly.
And I think that's why,
Hello.
and I think like having 4 at the beginning and now 5 people who are interested in different things and have different like styles, we can have moments where, like Sal earlier, you were like, I don't want to talk about Star Wars anymore, and it's like, yeah, you don't have to.
I don't have to. Yeah, I don't have to pretend. It's just done.
Yeah, no, and that's just it. And that's what the goal was, because the goal at the beginning of this was Sal and I wanted an ancillary secondary project to, help us with finances, to help us with just having more fun and do things like that. And the goal is to eventually watch other movies. Like we talked about Clockwork Orange with Dylan, and we want to watch, Sal and I did Chip and Dale, and we want to do more movies. We want to do more
Chip and Dale
discussion.
was great.
Yeah.
I love that movie. I watched it this weekend.
And we want to do stuff like that. And we also want to still cover superhero-themed stuff. But there's so much out there that we want to do what we want to do. We want to do what's fun for us. Like, I don't ever want to have to go to Sal and be like, Sal, you have to watch this show.
Right.
I need you on this video.
We've been in that situation before where you're like, well, we're going to have to do that. And I was like, okay, well, we just won't do that.
I think the only time that I can
I'm a
think
tough
of that
negotiator.
happening so far with AMD is when I had to go see Morbius because no one else wanted to, and Dan had already seen it. So someone else had to go see it.
I think there's only been
needed
2
someone.
times that like Sal and I pulled like rank, I would say.
Yeah.
And we were like, you guys need to go do this. 'cause
I'm
we're
not watching Morbius. I'm not getting morbed. Thank you.
Oh, Eternals. Eternals
I'm sorry,
I pulled rank
but
on.
Eternals, I was
Morbius
like,
was the best movie of all time. I don't know
can't
what you're
handle
talking
this.
about.
Yeah,
Stop
y'all
making
missing
these
out.
jokes. You guys don't understand. These jokes have gone too far. They will make a second.
Morbius
that's what I'm saying.
movie.
Don't
Stop
stop.
saying
Bring
it.
it on.
You're
You know
like,
what?
it's Morbin time.
No, it's never
Stop.
going to be
It is
Morbin
Morbin
time. Sony doesn't
People
understand
say
the
that it
difference
was
between
bad.
jokes and
God
reality.
damn it. We need to shame Matt Smith to go back to Doctor Who the same way David Tennant went back, okay?
Yes.
60th
I'm just
anniversary,
saying.
by the
Michael
way.
Keaton
Who's seen the David
and Jared
Tennant
Leto in Morbius 2.
I have.
Next year.
You guys can say that the Morbius film was bad, but it is the highest grossing Morbius film of all time.
That's
So-
Shut up.
It's true.
Dan, shut up.
$7
was trending
billion
for a whole
in the
week.
opening weekend.
More billion.
No,
yeah.
but I gotta say, I think the other one was Eternals, and that's because Natalie and I couldn't see it. And I was like, Dylan, I'm just not gonna bother trying to see it.
right.
And,
Yeah.
and you were like, well, I'm already going, so whatever.
Yeah, I was
That's
gonna see it
okay.
anyway.
My local thrift store had a stack of Eternals year calendars for like
Oh,
50
boy.
cents a piece. I'm just like, oh, damn.
I forget Eternals came out every time. Until
Everybody
somebody
forgets
mentions it.
Eternals. Which
I
I was
forgot
like,
about
yeah.
And I'm like, oh, right.
I always just put the end tag at the end of a different movie because I'm like, Kit Harington's doing a thing, and it's Mahershala Ali as Blade.
Right.
That's all I remember from
That's
the movie.
it. Yeah. Yeah.
And Camille
That's fair.
Nanjiani's kind of funny, but then he's gone from the third act. That's not what this discussion
Harry
is, but I think that's
Styles.
insane.
I love when he just walks away. He's like, well, I'm not in
That
the
was the
movie anymore.
stupidest. I get the plot behind that, but for him to not even show up to save the day,
It was like, because he was
No, he's
easily
done.
like the funniest part of that movie for a
Yeah.
little bit. I was like, okay, Camille, good for you. Now he's in
Yeah.
Star Wars too, so get that actor.
Yeah, that was
He's
a
good.
crazy notice when he showed up in that show.
That didn't
but
surprise
anyway.
me in the least because he was in the MCU. I'm like, well, he's in the MCU. He's in the family now. That's that.
Look,
like,
man,
he's going to be in Star
when
Wars,
you-
whatever he wants to do.
When you go from brown man who's funny to brown man who's ripped and funny, there's no your career is boundless.
All the
Like,
doors open for you.
I got 2/4 of the way. Getting ripped is a lot harder than it looks. It's not fun. If Marvel's not funding your workout program, it's not a good time.
You will
trust
kill
me.
that was-
yourself.
I saw-
Don't do it.
there was an interview with the guy from Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and they're like, "How did you get so ripped?" And his first thing is, first, convince a studio to pay for the nutritionist and the
Right.
workout.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, and that kind of brings us to today because basically at that point, Husson had worked himself into so much stuff. We do want to keep doing superhero shows, but Sal and I's focus, we'd love to do more things like Nope, 3 beers in a topic. You know, we want to do more generic topical stuff.
Yeah.
We want to, and the goal is Sal and I have comic books on lock, guys. We want to do more. We want to break out. That's why I've got so many other projects going. Speaking of other projects, by the way, so if anybody's still watching this or you're still here part of the thing, all that footage from Facebook, Dylan and I are doing a channel called Ben and Friends, Comicstorian Plays. Definitely go check it out. I'm just plugging it right here.
I'm sometimes one of the friends.
I have
So
been
is
a friend
Husson.
before.
Yeah, he's
Yes.
a Husson.
Perfect.
I just throwing it out there. I have very
At the
little promotion to it.
57-minute mark. Let's see if anybody clicks on it.
I mentioned it earlier.
Yeah.
It's a test of retention.
I'm just saying right here. I barely mentioned it, but I'm going to start plugging it more because I think it did really good for having zero traction.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I basically did what you did, just did shorts, and those shorts are doing great. Now I got to get people to watch the longer videos.
It's really fun. It's like cheating. I love it. I don't have to work hard at all. I spent 10 years being like, what can I create that'll get me a play button? And then I uploaded videos that I hated. And then I got one 2 months later.
There you go.
So it doesn't even make a difference.
But that's where we are today. Absolutely, Marvel and DC is going to cover Mrs. Marvel. I'm not sure who the team on it is because I don't think Sal's interested. It'll probably be me and Dylan, honestly.
Yeah, I'll
I'll
watch
put
the
myself
first
through that one.
episode, but we'll see what
We're
happens.
going to be covering Obi-Wan. Sal won't be on that. I'll probably rotate in, but it's going to be our Star Wars boys that we're making watch the prequels.
Yeah, I'll be the
Star Boys.
main guy on that probably.
Yeah.
That watch is still going until that's concluded,
Yeah.
and then we'll figure out. I think we were going to do what MCU in chronological order.
Yeah, I still
was
gotta.
obvious.
I still gotta.
Yes, you guys are.
yeah, we are.
Yeah. I need. I need to
Me
get
and
the.
Sal are
I
gonna
have
do
all of the
Stranger
parts
Things.
of it.
Yeah.
I just need to render it all down into one file to send to you guys because I just haven't had the time to let my computer sit there for like 20 hours while it
Yeah.
exports.
Wait,
That
are you
amount of
referring to
footage.
the one where it's like legitimately grabs
Yes.
scenes from other movies and splices
Yes.
it in? Okay, that's the one.
That sounds like an incredible experience.
Yeah, I've never watched it, and I think it would be an interesting. We could do it like 2 hours at a time. Just review each
Yeah.
part, basically.
really fun
I think that'd
thing.
be
I can't
interesting.
believe where we cliffhangered this. We're in the middle of Ant-Man.
Middle of a scene.
But yeah, that's where we are. We thought it'd be fun to do this kind of a video here, which is now just going to be the Absolute Comics podcast. So whatever.
We saved one shoot for everything.
Does that mean Dan edits it?
Nope, you got the footage, Dylan.
Damn it.
Yeah, that's what you get. That's what
Had
you get
to
for
try.
hit record.
Trapped. I'm gonna hop on Miss Marvel. By the way, I realize it's a show about brown people, so I feel like obligated.
I've told you, stop making
I didn't
brown
wanna say
people
it.
your identity.
hey. No, I like.
You're
I like
Hassan
Kamala Khan.
Kudair.
Call me that again in
It's,
that accent.
Hassan Kadair, I believe, is
Did
what
you see that video?
Yes,
I
I
went
did.
to that stupid hotel. I'm at the hotel lobby, and the guy's like, "Spell your name for me." And I was like, "My name's Husson Kadir. That's how you spell it." And he goes, "Oh, you mean Hassan Kadair?" I was like, No, I mean Husson Kadir. How fucking dare you?
Tell me how to pronounce my name?
Bro, it was the audacity. He's like, obviously, like, I know how to say this, not you.
I thought,
Yeah, what?
No, like, I can't even.
It's really weird.
Dumbest moment of my life. No, I don't want to be the brown guy, but I do think Kamala Khan. I want to give I grew up Muslim. I'm not Muslim anymore, so I can have like the insight of like, is this properly representative of people? You know,
Yeah, I think
will
you'll have
they
a
be
good job. I
happy?
think you'll be a good job with that. But yeah, it could be a you, me, and Dylan thing. It'll be an interesting. We're gonna have that combo. We're trying to mix up the hosts a little bit. That's why Sal and Husson are gonna hit Stranger Things.
Yes,
the other
we
reason is
are.
I haven't started Stranger Things because I'm currently in the middle of watching My Dress Up Darling. And oh my God, Marin is amazing. But anyway,
I'm
Oh my
sorry.
God, My Dress Up Darling is
Time out.
fantastic. My Dress Up
time
Darling
out.
is fantastic.
What are you watching?
Do you
My
not
Dre-
watch My Dress Up Darling?
you gotta watch My Dress Up
I have
Darling.
never heard of this before.
Okay,
It's an
episode-
anime. You want to explain it? You go ahead.
I was
Husson.
gonna say
you haven't talked.
It's a great anime all about a nerdy shut-in guy who his parents own a little shop where they make little dollies and pretty dresses, and this bumps into this girl who's super attractive but also really down to earth and nice.
Whoa!
And she wants
And
to
outgoing,
cosplay
and outgoing.
really badly.
But is
every
it shonen?
No,
no.
Ah, see, now I don't
it's
care.
the most popular
It-
thing right now.
And basically, she gets him. So she basically gets him
I
to
see.
get her, make her cosplay. But she's done so well with the cosplay now that the other cosplayers are trying to hire him. But Marin has just realized that she might be in love with him. So we're dealing with that now.
That's a spoiler, Betty. I'm on the second fucking episode.
Okay, well that's sorry, my bad.
Whatever. It's really good, and we're watching Spy Family. But Dan, me and Benny can do the slice of life. You and I could do Mushoku Tensei because
Yeah.
you're gonna get back on that show. It's
I
so
will
good.
eventually. I will eventually.
I'm gonna text you every day.
I'm
and
gonna
just have you watch it.
I'm gonna have to rewatch multiple of other anime first. I just finished rewatching Demon Slayer, as well
I
as
gotta rewatch
Avatar.
all of Dragon Ball Z, and then Dragon Ball Super. And then I'll
Baki.
get...
I just
Why are you
watched that
starting
for
from
the
the
third time.
beginning?
All right,
And
anyway,
who starts
continue.
a Dragon Ball?
no
That's
one's actually
fair.
watching
That's
that.
fair. Who starts with Dragon Ball? Come on.
You
No,
you
I
go
didn't.
right to Z. Those are two different shows.
Yeah, you start with
obviously
Z
know
or you
this.
start with Super.
You guys aren't
Nothing else.
excited
I haven't
about
seen a
Dragon
single
Ball-
episode of Dragon Ball Z. I've watched 2 seasons of Dragon Ball.
That's see, man. You live in a universe of your own.
Yeah.
Dragon Ball. There's a Dragon Ball Super movie coming out, so we could cover it because Dragon Ball. It's
For
called
the anime discussion?
Oh, isn't
Yeah,
that
we
the one
could.
with
Gohan's main
Gohan is
character,
finally going to
which
be
is my favorite thing. But
important
the-
in some manner?
It is. The movie's called Dragon Ball Super Superheroes. So it's the dumbest fucking name
All
I've
right.
heard of my entire
Anyway.
Well,
life.
if you don't know the
Crazy.
lore,
Anyway.
Gohan becomes a superhero using the powers.
God.
It doesn't matter later.
It's not the lore.
Okay.
Shut up.
All right.
Anyway, that's where we're at now. So now, Absolutely Marvel at DC is going to move forward, bringing you all the content that you want, but we're going to try to place a lot more of our own intellectual properties on top of that, just like we're doing at Dungeons and Ale. If you haven't watched Dungeons and Ale, that's our channel where we do superhero D&D, but we're also making our own properties because what we've learned in the long run here is if you just cover MCU. You have no agency to do what you want to do with anything.
Yeah.
Or if you use Mickey Mouse as a puppet, you have no agency to make stuff with it.
It's so hard, man. It's such a terrible career track. I can't recommend it to anybody. But Mickey's so close, guys. He's so close to public domain. 2 years. In
He
2
will
years,
never.
I can
No.
use him.
They'll rewrite
Yes.
the law again.
You will never get
They
it.
did
No.
it last time. They'll do it again.
I was going to
Happened
say,
to Winnie the
they-
Pooh. No.
Why can't I have hope? God damn it. I want hope.
You should have picked a Hanna-Barbera character.
That's
You
such
should have
a
picked Winnie
terrible
the Pooh.
Should have been Winnie the Pooh. Maybe you can
I could buy a
sidestep
Winnie
into
the Pooh.
just
Yeah,
work
just
on that
pivot.
voice.
Hold on. Do they sell Winnie the Pooh puppets? Guys, I have research to do.
Probably.
Winnie the Pooh.
He's like, wait, that's a good
Piglet.
idea. I could do that.
Yeah.
I don't want to do any more
goodness.
puppets, guys. I'm like terrified of puppets. They sell like 30. Jesus Christ, they're oh my God.
Are you
Why
all
would a
Googling
child-
Winnie the Pooh?
There you go. The
puppets?
uglier the better.
All right.
Oh God, no, I hate that.
Just don't
Yeah,
forget,
no,
you love honey. You're lazy. I don't know what the song. How he
Piglet.
goes. Yeah. Oh bother. I don't know. He sucks.
You like
Poor
honey,
guy.
you're lazy, you got a depressed donkey as a
Yeah.
friend.
You got a
Yeah.
manic depressive
Why is
donkey
everyone
and-
depressed in Winnie the Pooh?
Because that's
What's going on?
It's
over there?
realistic.
Because they know
Dylan.
that they're boring.
no.
Because they're aware of how boring
it's
they
set
are.
in the real world, Dylan. Real people are really depressed.
Yeah, most people are really depressed. No one's happy. That's why.
This is too real.
Are you excited
Anyway,
to eventually rebrand the title from Absolutely Marvel and DC to something that doesn't say
Yeah, do we
Marvel
want
and
to pitch
DC?
some names?
Absolutely everything, always.
Every
we
time
go.
I brought it
Absolutely.
up, people normally just say, "Oh no, but I really like Absolutely Marvel and DC," and I'm not against us leaving it. I mean,
Yeah.
we internally we just call it AMD.
That's it.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
call it AMD. Nobody cares what it stands. No,
I like AMD.
We could just
nobody
change
knows
it. We could
KFC
pull a
stands for
DC.
chicken.
I don't dislike the idea of just absolutely. I think Dan just said
I was
that,
going
right?
to say, yeah, just condense
Absolutely.
it down. It's
Exclamation
absolutely.
point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's first in the phone
But
book.
anyway, the point I want to get at is thank you guys for sticking it out for me and Sal for the 4 years we've been doing Absolute Comics, or 3 years. And thank you for supporting us for the last year. This channel has had crazy amounts of growth considering we literally just launched it for fun and
we're
we
still
mentioned it in
growing.
a podcast.
That's true.
Like it's not like we launched it and then Dan and I made like 80 videos promoting it across
Yeah.
No.
everything we do.
In fact, actually, that's Benny's motto is when we start something, we wait at like a good
promote
couple months before we mention it anywhere.
Right.
People want a
and my
backlog.
rationale, I have twofold for that reason. One, if you constantly promote something, you're going to get people who want to be nice and sub, but they won't watch the content. So you just get a lot of subs.
Right.
That's what happened over on the old Eligible Monster channel. The second reason is if I make a whole bunch of videos promoting a project, but 6 months in, we shut it down, I now have 6 months of promoting a project that doesn't exist, and I don't like that being in my backlog.
Yeah.
Yep.
So my new rule has been it has to at least exist for 6 months before we promote it anywhere outside of like the casual mention in a podcast. Like I'll do that. I'll just be like, hey guys, go check this thing out. But that's all I'll do for 6 months of a project's life. And I want to go a full year to see how that project what kind of an audience can it get on its own? That's the point, which I love. And we've mentioned this a few times, but I love that absolutely Marvel and DC has gotten to the point where people don't know I'm Comicstorian and that he's on Comic Pop. And then vice versa, people come over confused that we're making these other channels.
Yeah.
And I'm waiting for that to happen to Mickey Boy over here.
It has. People will comment on like on bad days a lot more, or like I will get DMs more about I don't read all my DMs. They're very stupid. So like every time I see like anything about like Marvel or something in like the first sentence of the DM, it's always something really, really nice, and they're far more interesting. And I have a second channel that's not super popular. It's called Bad Days. It's my podcast channel, and that one, a lot of AMD crossovers happen. So a lot of people know me from just those things, which is wonderful because that's me. That's not a puppet my hand is inside of. So it's a gross way to say that. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, phrasing.
I like this one, Absolute Media.
Absolute Media. That feels
I
very,
like absolute
you know,
content. That's a better one.
Absolute content was nice. That's a good one.
don't like the
Absolute
word
Media feels very like
Yeah, it feels too
source
corporate.
fed.
Yeah.
Feels so
Yeah.
corporate. It feels like an LLC.
Right.
Absolutely not a corporate entity.
Yeah.
I think just the idea of absolutely, it's just brandable. It's easy.
Yeah, absolutely with
my
an
problem
exclamation
with that
point.
is, yeah.
So
and
what,
how
we
do you search
rename
that?
Nope to Absolutely Nope.
Yeah.
Absolutely nope. That's
Yeah.
actually Sal's
fair. The
basically
SEO
motto.
on that
Is
would be
that
a little-
absolutely nope.
Yeah.
Which is weird because nope's one of those words that you don't really use
No.
in normal content.
Nope.
Like context, you never actually really say nope.
No,
Speaking
you
of which,
don't.
Nope
like-
is now on
say
Spotify.
Nope.
I found it this
Hey,
morning. and
all right.
subscribed.
Did you actually find
Nice.
it? It went through properly. Good,
Yep.
good.
Nice.
If
That
you
was
just
something
type
that-
Nope, it doesn't come up. But if you type Nope, a crypto, as soon as you get to C,
Yeah.
it just pops up. So
Awesome.
That was something that a lot of the commenters have been asking for, is to just turn the regular reviews and episodes just into a podcast stream
Yeah.
because they want
Yeah.
that for some reason.
People like
You can
not
do it on
having to
YouTube.
look at us.
Yeah.
Is what I've learned.
Well,
That's-
What? Dan, they love you. You're
People-
Grant Gustin.
But
different.
I am
That's
going
right.
to conclude this impromptu hour-long podcast. We weren't
Yeah.
quite sure how we were going to do this. It had just turned into me telling the whole story of Absolutely Marvel and DC.
This was a good episode.
This is
It was
like,
fun.
hold on. This is like that time Benny and I were doing a stream, and he's like, okay, so let me explain why we haven't done a house tour yet. So it all started when I was 16,
Right.
and I was mowing lawns, and it was like, all we needed to know was that you haven't finished your basement, and that's why you haven't done. And he's like, nope. So I was mowing lawns around this apartment complex for my very first PlayStation, and Tomb Raider. It's
So
just like,
Dan's not lying. Dan and I, whenever we cancel Comics Experiment, have decided that we have to at least go live for an hour from the house, like just to fill our time spot. And so we went live one day with zero plans of what to talk about. And someone in the chat said, "How about a house tour?" And I was like, this is gonna be a nice filler. Here we go.
Oh my god.
it was a full hour long, and
That sounds about right.
I think the worst part for me was that throughout the entire thing, I'm like, I've heard this so many times that I could probably tell this story at this point. Anyway, you can close out the show now.
Yeah, thanks a lot for watching.
Anyway, thank you guys for watching an episode of Absolute Comics. I'll give you another intro in a second. You can slap at the front of it, Dylan. But thank you for watching another episode of Absolute Comics, our podcast that we do every Tuesday over at twitch.tv/comicstory, normally at 5 p.m. Eastern. This one was filmed very early just because of the holiday, throwing everyone's schedules out of whack. Everything's all kind of weird. But thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Go check out Ben and Friends Comicstorian Plays. Go check out twitch.tv/Foxtrot. Fox Toast.
You asshole. It's Fox Toast X. Thank you very much.
Foxtrot.
Foxtrot. Get the
The
fuck.
Sunday comic strip that I don't think is even in print
What the
anymore.
hell is Foxtrot?
Oh my gosh. Get the hell out of here. I thought we were friends.
Go check out Orum's Corner over on
Don't.
YouTube.
Don't
No.
do that, actually.
Soon
to my
to
Twitter.
be rebranded. Check out
Yeah.
Orum's Twitter.
Yeah, just go to my
Orum's Twitter.
Twitter, at Orem Alexander, and you'll see stuff eventually when I am not nocturnal.
What a sell.
Go check out Bad Days Podcast featuring Mickey Mouse, Husson, and his two buddies.
Mickey's not on that show.
He's absolutely
that
not on
show.
that show. It's really hard to do it with Mickey. I tried one episode. It's a nightmare.
What does Mickey get? Here's my bad days. Back in Steamboat Willie Day.
No, if you don't think it's going to be the funniest thing I've ever put out, you're wrong. The issue is that I want to be the person talking to Mickey. I am Mickey also. So like, if I could get if I could clone myself, that'd be great. I've been trying to teach Isaiah the Mickey voice. He's doing pretty good, honestly. But he just doesn't have the wit yet.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
We'll get it. there.
And lastly, go check out my lovely and beautiful co-host, Vanna White, aka Sal.
Thank you.
Comic Pop and Comic Pop returns. He's easy to find all of his projects. I have to pick one at a time to promote. Today it's Ben and Friends, okay?
Friends.
Fair enough.
Or Ben and Friends Mobile.
Yeah, he's not wrong. It's called Comicstorian
It's-
Mobile.
PSG thing.
Oh, is it? Is it Comicstorian Mobile?
Pretty sure.
I don't know. I
your
just wanted to
brand
throw it
straight,
out there.
guys.
Jeez, man.
We started it
marketing
last week. Forgive us.
I was gonna say that was way too
Fair.
fresh.
Too new.
I can't even Google it properly. Benny told me the proper name the other day, and I'm like, "That's what it's called." Oh shit!
Anyway, guys, thank you so much for your continued support. We'll see you guys next time right here.